We're Hassani and Danielle Pettiford, and we're a real couple with real problems who almost called it quits.
I was very frustrated. I became very disconnected, very jaded and cold.
We have 4 children, going on 20 years of marriage, and we practice what we preach.
Our mission, to change the way couples relate to one another and teach them the skills needed to improve the quality of their relationships. This is the Couples Academy Show.
Well, good morning, everyone. My name is Hassani, and this is the Couples Academy Show, and I'm with you alone. It's just me and you and me, but I'm back in the saddle. We were off yesterday, and now we're back. Hope all is doing well wherever you may be tuning in from around the world, whether it's on this continent or another. We're just glad to have you here. Listen, guys, today is Wednesday, right? It's today? Yeah. Today's Wednesday. It's Humpback Wednesday. And so what we want to do is we want to talk about something that's important to me, hopefully near and dear to you, and that is what's ever on your heart and mind. See, occasionally we will have these type of shows where we want to hear from you. We want to know what's going on within you, and whatever question you have that we can answer, whatever problem there is that you would like us to address, we want to be able to do that. Before we get started, listen, guys, this is a big month. As you know, we've been talking about sex after betrayal. It says 297, folks. It's actually 197. Forgive me for that. But that's going to be taking place on March 27th from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You do not want to miss that. Every time we do a masterclass, it is truly amazing. So make sure you participate in that. Also, we have our last chance weekend coming up the 19th through the 21st. Some of you are in a desperate situation and you're looking for help. This is the place that you want to come so that you can get your needs met to take your relationship up to the stratosphere, to the next level. Hey, I just want to let you know, I just want to pat myself on the back just a little bit. Danielle and I, since the inception of the Couples Academy Show, it started off as Couples Academy Live. Then we transitioned it to the Couples Academy Show. As of today, we've hit 150 episodes, 150. And I hope that shows the level of dedication and commitment that we have to you. And so what we're going to do is we're going to take a break. At the end of this week, we're just going to take a break. And we're going to be playing replays, some of the best shows that we've had based upon viewership, based upon your interaction, based upon your requests. We'll be playing that for a while. Then we're going to come back for a brand new season with a brand new set and a brand new look and feel and a brand new list of topics. And so we want you to stick with us throughout the course of this break, but just know we're coming back for you guys. And we want to take this thing to the next level and be able to serve you with a spirit of excellence. And in order to do that, sometimes you got to step away, you got to reassess, you got to restructure, you got to make some things happen, you got to hear the heart of the people, you got to connect with people, you got to make things happen, create systems and processes to be able to do things in a better way. And so we appreciate all of you who have been with us for this time. And every single day, if we don't go, is the show live? Where's happening? What's going on? We missed you today. And that shows your level of commitment and loyalty to the show. And so because of that, we want to reward you by going a step above and beyond what has been normal to do something great. All right, we just want to welcome those who are here. Ronald, good morning. Latasha, good morning. Torre, Tisha, Sharmika, Marie, Angie, Tiffany, Tracy, Darnell, Clarence, JD, Max, AMX, Kathy, Jerome, Angie, the list goes on and on. We're just so grateful for all of you. Ray, Tiffany, glad that you're here. We want to know what's on your mind. So this is your opportunity to come with it. And so I'm just going to jump right into this because we have a few questions here. So number one, Max says, what is the best way to bring up a difficult conversation when it comes to infidelity on her half and she doesn't want to talk about it? What is the best way? It depends upon the person that you're dealing with. You know, we all have these defense mechanisms. We all have these ways in which we show up to conversations, and some of us can be very off-putting. Some of us shut down. Some of us become very emotional. So I really don't know how, your wife is showing up. But what we always encourage you to do is to preface the conversation. You never want to just go straight into the conversation. Listen, we need to talk. You want to invite them into a conversation. Hey, babe, listen, would it be all right if, maybe later today we had a conversation? There's some things on my mind that I want to share. I know we've talked about some of these possibly before, but I just want to make sure that we create the right environment so that we can have a healthy, productive, effective, conducive conversation. What would be a good time for you? Like, there's a principle that we say all the time. If you want your spouse to buy in to something, allow them to weigh in to something. So allowing them to weigh in to the circumstances, the environment, the dynamics, even the topic of the conversation will be helpful. And you'll probably get the better result out of that situation than if you come in a different type of way. Another thing is, when you're talking about somebody else's offense, there's a tendency to identify what they did wrong, what they didn't do right. And so sometimes people feel judged and they're dealing with their own guilt, they're dealing with their own shame. And so their unwillingness to want to deal with those type of emotions, they shut things down as well. So you just have to figure out the best way to maneuver around it to be able to get the most out. And then at the end of the day, here's another great tip. Do not feel like you have to talk about everything in this one conversation. Listen, Rome wasn't built in a day. The situation will not be resolved in a day. And so this is why it's important to put a time limit, a time stamp on the conversation, because it could become so emotionally exhausting for people that they just shut down and then they make this internal vow within themselves. We're never having this conversation again. And then the last point, don't talk about your feelings when you're in your feelings, because if you're in your feelings, when you're talking about your feelings, then they're going to feel attacked. They're going to become defensive, and it's just not going to go well. So hopefully those are some tips that help to really allow you to have a healthy conversation. And if none of that works, this is why you need a third party to kind of help navigate the conversation, because when you both are accountable to somebody else, you're able to get out of your spouse what you couldn't get out of them on your own. So hopefully that helps. Jerome says, good morning, family. Love the work that you guys are doing and love your story. Keep helping us save marriages, relationships. One love to you both. Jerome, appreciate you, brother. Appreciate that very, very, very much. I think we have a couple more comments. Eden says, congratulations on your 150th show. That is awesome. Thank you. I appreciate that. Next level. That's exactly what we're taking it, guys. We have another question, but listen, put your question in because today is all about you. Ray says, how do you get past emotional manipulation of a spouse? Boy, oh boy, oh boy, that's a big one. I would love to know more of the details of that situation to determine what you're defining as emotional manipulation. But if we just use the word manipulation is not a good thing. It's a form of control. It's a form of or ability to get your way. When people use, ultimatums and they threaten to take away, or they threaten to do certain things if you don't, acquiesce, all types of things. And here's the deal. We talk about healthy parameters in a relationship. There are certain laws that govern a healthy body. There are certain laws that govern this universe. There are certain laws that govern the streets when people are driving. You have to practice certain laws. Likewise, there are laws that govern a healthy relationship. And manipulation is not one of the things that will help a couple advance. Really what it does, it causes more separation and distance between the two. So identifying the specific act that person is doing and bringing it to their attention may be helpful. I don't know if it's being done, but nobody's going to admit, oh yeah, I'm being emotionally manipulative. So when you put labels and titles on that, when you're talking to the person who's actually doing it, they're not going to be receptive. So you have to learn how to articulate what they're doing in a way that they can receive it. You got to keep in mind, we speak different languages and we have different dialects. And if I want you to receive my message, I got to put myself in your mind, put my feet in your shoes. How would he or she best receive what I'm trying to communicate without them shutting down? Otherwise, what we do in our frustration, we'll use words like, you're such an emotional manipulator. And they're already defensive. They're not acknowledging anything. They're not. And so there's an art and science to how you go about doing things, addressing things and resolving things. And at the end of the day, as someone said, it takes two people to argue. If you're the only one yelling, that argument's going to be real short. So there are certain ways, truth be told, that we are complicit to our spouse's behaviors which allows him to continue to do again and again and again. If we're not willing to play in that game, if that's a dance that we're not willing to engage in, that emotional manipulation will not work. So hopefully that helps. Angie says, how can I honor my spouse as protector while expressing my concerns we're having a firearm? Oh, gotcha. Well, listen, this has been a point of contention for many people. Now, I'm from Jersey. So in Jersey, there's strict laws when it comes to weapons. But here in Georgia, oh, Georgia, everybody has got a gun. They've got a gun in the house. They got a gun in the car. They got a gun. They strapped. Remember the movie back in the day, Strapped? People walk around with, they're everywhere. And so one of the things that we have had to do, because, that's been something that we've grappled with to determine, if we're going to go in that direction. But I started to communicate with people that I was connected to who owned firearms, people who were police officers, people who served in the military, people who are very familiar with weaponry and how to use them. And we went to a gun range and took a 3-hour course just to get familiar with the weapon. I think we can demonize, and I think that we can have a level of fear for the things that we do not understand. But the more you understand it and the more you understand safety precautions and how to go about doing that, I think it'll help. So if your husband wants a gun and you're resistant, I would say whatever your greatest fear is, face it. You kill fear by facing it. And so learn together, go to a gun range together, let somebody guide and instruct you together, talk about safety precautions together. These are the things that you do. That way he's able to honor his role as a protector, and there's less resistance because you have a level of awareness about it that you didn't have before. And yes, there are all types of horror stories. We hear it all the time. Literally, I just heard literally a week ago about someone who had a weapon and their 11-year-old daughter grabbed it and then just playing with it and literally killed herself, right? And so is it the weapon that's the problem, or was that weapon not safe and secure and where it should have been? So there's all types of conversations that you can have about it, but the more you talk about it, the more you get the subject in the water, the more helpful it will be in terms of determining what is best for you and your family. These are the things that are important to figure out because they could be a point of contention for a lot of people. Anyway, guys, you're watching the Couples Academy show. We will be right back right after this quick announcement. All right, guys, we're back. This is the Couples Academy show. Just reading through these questions. I'm trying to navigate everything all by myself. So let's go to Tracy, number one. Do you do any virtual sessions? We live in Oregon. Absolutely. We were actually doing virtual sessions before the pandemic. For the last 10 years, we've had clients all over the country and all over the world. So whether you're in Oregon or if you were in Afghanistan, you can work with us. All you need to do is go to the website at couplesacademy.org and you can set up a free discovery call to find out more about how you can get involved. We do virtual sessions, whether it be hourly, we do intensives virtually. We do all types of things. And so listen, all you need to do is just set up a quick discovery call. That's the website, that's the number. We would love to work with you. So thank you for even asking about that. We have another, is it okay to keep exes around even if it's social media? A song came in my mind, but I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to sing that song. But no, it's not okay. Now listen, if you have children together and those children are under the age of 18 years old and you both are in some way financially responsible, emotionally responsible for the development of that child, then absolutely that comes along with the territory. Just because the relationship doesn't work out doesn't mean that your role as a parent to that child in co-parenting with that other partner, it's still there. It's still your responsibility. But if there is no financial tie, if there is no legal tie, bounce, Joker. Maybe the problem is there's an emotional tie that you haven't let go of, or maybe you're asking because your partner is connected to exes. It is inappropriate. And when you leave that window or door open, there's familiarity that takes place. And guess what? When you two are going through and you have a rough patch and you're trying to weather this storm, guess who you'll reach out to? Someone who can understand you, someone who knows you, someone who you can speak to, who can give you these wonderful things, this wonderful advice. And what happens is, in that season of struggle and frustration, you become vulnerable. And then all of a sudden, you need somebody who understands with compassion, with a listening ear, and it goes from online to offline, and then from offline to into the bedroom. We've seen this happen again and again and again and again. People who are involved in affairs with old high school sweethearts, past lovers, even people that they have children with that they're no longer in a relationship with, because it's a level of comfort there. And why start from scratch? The dating scene is so difficult. I rather deal with someone who I know, and then that's how it happens. And so no, I think it's inappropriate. Now, if you do want to maintain that friendship, well, guess what? It better be your spouse's friend too, straight up and down. But at the end of the day, if there is a sexual or emotional history with that person, it just may not be in your best interest to continue to maintain that relationship, right? So all of your energy, your sexual, emotional, and social energy should be going towards your spouse. And that's ultimately what it is. And so I hope that helps you. All right, let's go on. I'm reading these, so just bear with me, guys. Okay, so Tracy says, so we'll be in Atlanta. Do we do a one-day meeting? Yes, let's do it. Tracy, reach out to me. We do one-day sessions. They're called one-day intensives. That's absolutely not a problem. Ebony says, yes, he's keeping them around and tells me I'm nagging for asking him to delete them. Well, that's a problem. And see, we talk about the importance of really having proper boundaries and parameters when dealing with members of the opposite sex. Now, you can find this video online, but it's called the 19 Signs of a Close Call Friendship. And ultimately, some of these relationships or these friendships that we deem are just platonic are problematic, because by definition, the word platonic is problematic within itself. It means to have an intimate and affectionate relationship with someone void of sex. But the question becomes, how intimate and how affectionate can you be without it somehow stirring up an interest, an energy, a passion for something more? So it's just all the way wrong. We don't advise that. But at the end of the day, here's the principle. If it works for you and doesn't work for your partner, it doesn't work for your marriage. If it works for your partner and doesn't work for you, it doesn't work for your marriage. So in essence, you have to do what works for the marriage. If it's not benefiting the marriage, then you've got to let that thing go. All right. Lorraine says, can you explain authentic remorse? What exactly should I be looking for? Anya, long time affair. Okay. I think that was probably a typo. But authentic remorse, this is what's interesting, because a lot of times people feel a level of remorse on the inside, but don't know how to effectively communicate it on the outside. So for instance, if I had to show remorse to Danielle because of my personality, my wiring, my Enneagram, my love languages, I may express it, and I'm just making up a scenario, I may express it by buying gifts, right? Because you know what, man, and this is what we do, right? So a lot of times when we find out about people who have been unfaithful, they're trying to make up, they're trying to restore, they'll buy these beautiful, expensive $5 million carat diamond rings and a $200,000 vehicle, and let's do this vacation, and that's their way of showing remorse. And for some, it's a one-time occurrence. Well, I did this. Didn't that prove that I was remorseful? And within themselves, it may have, right? So I don't want to discredit that. But the reality is, it's not just an event. It's not just something you do. It is a posture. It is a disposition. It is an attitude. And so the reality is, really the way somebody shows remorse in a way that works is understanding how that spouse needs to receive it. Because if I was married to somebody else, maybe that other person would need to receive remorse very different than how Danielle needs to receive it. So really, it's case by case. It's based upon the relational dynamic of that particular couple. But in a general sense, when somebody is empathetic, when someone shows compassion, when someone has an understanding for what they've done, and they really see the weight of their actions, and they're not just thinking about themselves and what they're going through, that's a way that they demonstrate a level of remorse. When they take the time to articulate, how grieved they are about what they've done and what it's doing to them, because I can't believe that I would allow myself to hurt you. When you speak life into a person, when you take the time to initiate conversations and not always wait for the spouse to initiate it and then get all uncomfortable and clammy when the topic comes up, like all of those things are ways in which you can demonstrate a level of remorse. But at the end of the day, tell him what you need from him. That's the key. Right? So he's not a mind reader. And so if he's doing all these things and it's not working and it's not connecting, tell that man what he needs to do so that he can win every single time. All right. Angel, from a man's perspective, generally speaking, on how I honor my spouse. Okay, you honor your spouse. That's another thing. So, when we talk about the emotional needs of men and women, admiration or honor is one of those emotional needs. Now, I can tell what a man honors by how he treats certain things. Like people who are into cars, you could tell that they honor cars because they're clean on the inside, on the outside. They're waxed, the wheels are rimmed, the rims are shiny, the sound system. They really enjoy spending time with their car. They're reading up on their car. They know everything about their car because that is what they're passionate about. Likewise, in a marriage, that is one way that you show honor and respect and value to your spouse, by the way in which you treat her, right? The amount of attention and time and care and consideration that you give to that spouse. We talk about being a student of your spouse, learning who your spouse is. When you take the time to really become a student and get out that book, I call it the Book of Danielle, and you start writing things down, what they like, what they don't like, all these different things, that is a way of honoring. And you honor your spouse by how you show up when your spouse isn't around. How do you talk? How do you walk? How do you live? Who do you interact with? How do you represent yourself? And do you bring your spouse's presence with you everywhere you go, even when they're not in your physical presence? So hopefully that helps. All right, another question. This says, husband says that he is now testing how much I trust him. So he will do things without telling me to see if I'm spying on him or not. Then the excuse of, I am testing you. See, listen, these are the challenges that happen in relationships, in the games that we can play back and forth when we're just not in a healthy space. And so as a result of that, we resort to these type of tactics. Now, all I'm hearing is what he's doing. I'm not sure I'm hearing what you're doing, but at the end of the day, is a relational dynamic that we really need to do away with, because it doesn't make things better. It doesn't restore trust. It only creates more distrust, more emotional disconnect, more frustration, and then we wind up in a horrible, horrible space. All right, Tracy says, how many times a week is a good guide to talk or work on things? Well, we talk about the work day and the play day. So twice a week, right? The two most important days of the week. One day is your work day. Pick what that day is in that time. And then the other day is your play day. The work day, you're working on the relationship, you're watching a show, you're reading a book, you're talking through issues and resolving them, you're using some of the tools that we've given you if you've ever worked with us. And then your play day is the day that you come together and have fun. You go on your dates, you participate in recreational companionship, you're just playful. You don't talk about issues on a play day. You talk about issues on a work day. You play on your play day. You keep it light. You keep it connecting. You keep it fun. And as long as you're doing that, you're moving this relationship in the right direction, because you created a level of momentum. All right, Ralph says, if there are true friends, if they are true friends, they will help you and get rid of the negative feedback from what happened. After they inform you of what happened, they will know it. They will know if, okay. They should help you see you and your loved ones back to being happy in the relationship. Thank you so much, Ralph, for sharing that. And then Angie says, yes, it helps. I bought him 3 pairs of Star Trek socks. He enjoyed that. Okay, so this is from previous statements that were made. So guys, I hope that this is helping you. We're talking about what's on your heart, what's on your mind, the things that are important to you. We probably will be doing that for the next 2 days. As you know, Friday is Q&A, but I just want to make the announcement again for those who are just tuning in. We have just completed 150 shows. We're coming back for a season 2. We're going to take a short break. We'll be playing some replays, the ones that you have loved and responded to the most, in order for you to just stay connected with what it is that we're doing. We're doing some amazing things behind the scenes that we definitely want you to be a part of. But remember, before we go, the Sex After Betrayal Masterclass, what many of you have been asking for, it is now available. We have the Last Chance Weekend coming up March 19th through the 21st. Listen, guys, people are hungry. They want change. We got a call yesterday and somebody said, listen, we need an intensive, a private marriage intensive. When is it available? Like, can we come tomorrow? I'm like, well, I don't know about tomorrow, but you can come on Friday. Can you come on Friday? We're there. Book their flights, on their way, because they are hungry for something more in their relationship. And so if you're hungry for more, we want to help you get what it is that you need by getting involved today. Listen, guys, we love you. We'll see you in the morning for another episode of the Couples Academy Show. See you then.
If you would like to be a guest on our show, or if you're interested in one of our restoration programs, contact us today at couplesacademy.org.